Good morning, and thanks for making ekaboom TV part of your morning routine.
I'm Ruben, and this is Joan Romero, and today we're going to talk about introvert versus extrovert.
So, what does introvert versus extrovert have to do with business?
Well, I think in a lot of ways it's important to understand people's personality types. When you're in business, it's important to understand a little bit of psychology, a little bit of sociology. So I think it's important to know. And I was actually looking up, what makes an introvert, what makes an extrovert. There's actually a small test on the Huffington Post website about introvert and extrovert that came up in the internet, and we'll just ask some of those questions.
Okay.
Number one, this is to find out whether you are secretly actually an introvert. You find small talk incredibly cumbersome. Check for me right there. You go to parties, but not to meet people. I probably would fall under that myself.
You go to parties just to talk to people you already know?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay,
I
continue and build relationships.
Right. You often feel alone in a crowd. I probably can just say right now, I probably will check mark every single one of these. So I'm not going to check each of them as we go along. Just imagine in your head as I read them, me going, check.
Feeling alone in the crowd.
Networking makes you feel like a phony. You've been called too intense.
Why? Because you're just focused all the time? You don't small talk and such? Okay.
You're easily distracted. Now, is that introvert or just a good old-fashioned ADD? Downtime doesn't feel unproductive to you. Giving a talk in front of 500 people is less stressful than having to mingle with those people afterwards. Oh my goodness, that is totally me. Put me in a crowd speaking in front of 500,000, 10,000 people, I don't care. But make me small talk with them afterwards, and
It'll wear you out.
It wears me out. When you get in the subway, you sit at the end of the bench, not in the middle. You start to shut down after you've been active for too long. You're in a relationship with an extrovert. That could be a sign. I guess maybe I don't check all of those because you're probably not an extrovert. You'd rather be an expert on one thing than try to do everything. Maybe you're secretly an extrovert. Maybe. You actively avoid any shows that might involve audience participation. You screen all your calls.
What shows involve audience participation?
I think like you go to a show.
Like a comedy club or something like that.
You notice details others don't. You have a constantly running inner dialogue. You have low blood pressure. That's interesting. You've been called an old soul since your younger years. You don't feel high from your surroundings. Anyway, there's actually quite a few. Okay, you look at the big picture and you've been told to come out of your shell. It's interesting. Pretty much all of those, maybe a couple exceptions, all of those I classify under. But I've actually got a simpler definition of what an introvert and extrovert is. Well, one last thing from this article, which was really interesting, is that they've actually the American Psychiatric Association has even considered classifying introverted personality as a disorder, which would surprise me because then I think 50% or more of all people, probably more, would be
interesting.
They just want to drug us, basically.
Or counseling.
Or I guess, I don't know. But I don't think that's a good idea. We should not classify introverted as a personality disorder. I think it's just the way people are. And I think ultimately it comes down to one simple rule. This is my rule for introvert and extrovert, which is one. This is my one litmus test.
Okay.
If you get energy from being around people, you're an extrovert. If you lose energy from being around people, you're an introvert. So if you're out and so that means the extrovert could be at the party, could be the life of the party, could be making all the jokes, could be getting all the attention, and at the end of the party,
they go to the after party.
Yeah, do they go to the after party or do they collapse and go to sleep right away? You don't have to be, just because you're the life of the party doesn't mean you're an extrovert. Just because you can be around a lot of people doesn't mean you're an extrovert. I think what it is that after you're around those people, how much energy do you have afterwards? And if you're like, okay, let's go to the next party, you're probably an extrovert. My brother is my younger brother. My only younger brother is a classic example of an extrovert. He, loves being around people. He gets energy from being around people. His fiance right now is an introvert, so she can do all of that. She can be around people, but by the end of the day, she's wiped out. I'm the same way. By the end of the day, if I'm around a lot of people, I'm wiped out. I'm ready to go to bed. My brain stops working. I can barely function. I can talk to people. I can mingle, but it's exhausting for me. So that's my litmus test. I don't know if you have a litmus test. I'd love to hear it, or if you have any other thoughts on, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Do you get energy from people? Do you not get energy from people? Let us know.
And I think it's good to know introvert versus extrovert, because you need, as a business owner, you need to look at how does that pertain to you? Where's your energy coming from? How about your employees and workers? Where are they getting their energy from? And your customers. Some people want to be left alone. Some people want to be interacted with. How do you balance both so you can get the most out of your business and have everyone be happy and healthy and enjoy their experience with you?
Yeah, and also if you're going to hire a salesperson, it depends on what kind of sales you're going to do. If it's the kind of sales where they're out there, they're hitting the pavement, you probably want an extrovert. An introvert's just not going to last long in that kind of environment. Is not going to enjoy meeting new people and talking to new people and all the small talk
day
and
in
everything
and day out.
An introvert, may be an okay salesperson, but probably needs a much longer period of time to close deals, which would mean it probably should be bigger kinds of deals. So, if you're going to hire a salesperson, depends on what kind of things you sell. You may want that extrovert. That if you need that person to be out there talking to people, making small talk day in and day out, and not leave and burn out, and now you have to find a new salesperson.
Yeah.
But I think I like your thoughts about. Know your customers. Are your clients, are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Are you wearing them out by talking to them about sports because, they don't really care about those kinds of things, or they don't really care about chit chat. They want to get down to business, they want to get it done, and they want to move on.
That's good. Well, thanks for subscribing, liking, and commenting below.
Have a great day.